We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Okay, so don't start yet, Matt.
Okay.
I want to do something where we have about 15 seconds of silence, and I'm gonna put together some sci-fi-ish cool sound effects that are gonna get more and more intense, and it'll cut off, and then I'm just gonna say it's aliens. We're talking about aliens or something like that. And then
so you go ahead and do the intro this week then.
Sure.
All right.
So I'm just gonna start. So be silent now. Hey, it's aliens. We're gonna talk about aliens.
All right.
Sweet.
Yo, we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like you can just splice, right?
Yeah, we can just
We're
add that in whenever.
I didn't. No,
with the power of technology.
Yep.
Right, but I don't know, Matt. This would probably be you putting it in there, so I wanted to make it easier to line up if we left space for it. That's all.
It's just kind of funny.
If we're gonna like cut, can we make like a beep and then it's like a cue that we can chop things in and out?
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Can I just go beep when I want?
Oh, hey, welcome to this version of High School Famous, and I'm Sean.
I'm Matt,
and we have a very special guest on our podcast today. He is someone that we know from high school, fittingly enough, and his name is Eric.
Yay!
Hi, guys.
What's up, Eric?
How you doing?
I'm not cutting any of that beginning out, by the way.
Oh, I hope not. It's gold.
See,
it makes it so much more fun, Sean. You gotta leave it all in.
Come on, we want to. I'm trying to up the production value here with adding little sound bites here and there to beef it up.
But why give a false perception of who we are and how we are?
Well, I think who we are still
crabs
comes
in a
through.
bucket, man.
who we are, I think who we are still comes through, but this just adds even more.
I mean, it's going to sound great, but it's just going to be that same chaoticness that we actually already are. So
I'm just trying to raise the professionalism level of the podcast itself.
Yeah, no, it's
not to say
it'll sound great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about aliens.
Yeah, so this sparked because I was listening to another podcast, and they mentioned this story about, and I got it pulled up here so I can start reading a little bit of it. So let me see if I can see when this came out. I know this was earlier in the month, December 8th. So this is on NBC News. Former Israeli space security chief says that extraterrestrials exist and Trump knows about it. So
I think the qualifying word there is former.
Yeah, but yeah, true. So you might think at the beginning because of his credentials that he might be legit and maybe knows what he's talking about. But some of the elements of this story, like most stories like this, really kind of expose that it's probably a lunatic because it's just the same kind of stuff all the time. So former Israeli security chief, he's saying that there's this galactic federation.
Sounds
that
like
is
there
a
might
group of Earthlings have been in contact with extraterrestrials from a galactic federation. The unidentified flying objects have asked not to publish that they are here.
The objects have asked this?
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know if that's their.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
the objects are the
a
intelligent
UFO
life
is
form.
not an alien. That's not an alien. That's not.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
Have you seen Flight of the Navigator?
Okay.
I know. I haven't. I have not seen whatever that is, but so, and of course it's that typical, they've asked us not to let everyone know that they're here because humanity is not ready to hear about it.
Yeah, he's here. Hey, guess what? There's aliens. Is he just bitter because he got let go or what?
I don't know if it's
Possibly.
former because was let go or if he retired. I don't know. I guess he was in the position for like about 30 years or something like that. But let's see. He's a respected professor and retired general. His name is Haim Ashed, and said that aliens were equally curious about humanity and were seeking to understand the fabric of the universe. And also that the corporation Ishud said cooperation agreements had been signed between species, including an underground base in the depths of Mars, where there are American astronauts and alien representatives hanging out right now.
There's a lot to unpack there.
During COVID,
right? Plus, there was a point where Donald Trump was about to reveal this to everybody, but then they said, "No, please don't. Humanity is not ready." And I just can't see Donald Trump holding something like that back.
No. He would use that in some way, shape, or form to prove that Biden had cheated.
Right.
Yeah, and that he's the greatest. He's the greatest president.
And then he's
the
greatest. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem with that is any species that can achieve intergalactic travel. Mm-hmm. I guess, I don't know, it could be intergalactic, but either way, any species that can achieve travel between star systems is not going to give two fucks about us as a species.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we can't.
We'd be like pets to them.
What interest do we hold to them?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, because why... I mean, if they know about us, they probably are aware of many other forms of life in other parts of space.
Exactly.
What makes us so significant? We can't even get past... we can't get... well, I guess if we're on Mars underground, I shouldn't say this.
Why
but we
on
haven't
Mars? Why on Mars?
Right, but we haven't gotten ourselves past the moon. So, why Mars? Why... Well, no, we've gotten
just barely past it. Just barely past it. We went around it.
Yeah. As far as a manned craft,
right.
We've had
right.
Unmanned crafts go beyond our solar system. But what is the significance of humanity? We're like nothing. We must be so primitive to them.
Well, exactly, and that's what do they call it? There's they call this the Great Filter, right? And it's a theory that says any civilization, there's like a series of filters that a civilization has to get through, and if they don't get through this filter, they destroy themselves. And I think climate change is definitely one of them. And then there's other filters out there that we don't necessarily know. I mean, if we start thinking about harnessing black hole power or something like that, and we could theoretically destroy ourselves. And there's so many pitfalls, nuclear war. I mean, things that we could do, a global pandemic, things like that. I don't think that anybody that's been able to get past those filters to get to a level to communicate with us is going to
care
be
at all.
Interested in an ape-like species
Earth
such as us.
Yeah, Earth to like that advanced of a civilization, Earth is just like a big pet shop, and we're a bunch of chinchillas.
Yeah,
like we serve no purpose to them whatsoever.
No.
What could they possibly learn from us?
Right.
All they could do is consume, like steal all of our resources if they were short on resources. That's about all they could gain from us.
But what if our resources would even be of any use to them? Because if there's a species that can travel like that, right? Travel across vast distances of space like that, none of our natural resources that we are currently using are going to be any use to them, because none of that's going to be able to fuel their ships for any length of time.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, and what? The periodic table is like 120 elements or 115 or 118 or something like that. Those are the same elements spread out throughout the universe.
Right.
Right.
As far as we know, maybe there's.
I'm sure there's
a few more.
Plenty we haven't found yet.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure, but I mean, the fabric of the universe is made up of protons and neutrons
colliding,
sticking together with some electrons. And I'm really, really simplifying this because I really don't understand it that much, but I know that it's all kind of based on that.
Right.
And it's just everything is just a combination of those things. So, like you said, the resources that we have aren't any different than resources they can get probably in their own solar system.
Right. And who says we have more of an abundance of one than the other that they would need if they even needed it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I think this is another example of humans thinking that we are so important and necessary for things to continue to be.
Right.
Or for we're going to be long gone, and the universe is going to carry on for billions and trillions of years after humanity's done for. We're of no significance to the greater aspects of the universe. We we affect ourselves and Earth, but that's about it.
We're a grain of sand on a massive beach.
We have a heliocentric view, much like we have a Eurocentric view of Europeans being like the center of culture and civilization. We kind of feel the same way about Earth. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, I get it. That's our whole frame of reference, right? But I mean,
we are
other species. I'm sure feel the same way.
I mean, literally, we are the center of our own universe as far as we know. To an extent, like that was somebody. I saw a thing once or read something once where it's like somebody asked somebody, "What's the center of the universe?" And you literally like, "Well, I am." Legit to me.
You could be.
To me, I am the center of my universe because everything from me goes out the same distance from me. So no matter where I am in relation to anything, I am the center of my own universe.
And the universe is so big, and if it is expanding in infinite directions, then technically anywhere you point is the center of the universe.
There you go.
Ooh, there's something.
Let me drop some philosophy.
Yeah, that's such a crazy concept to think about. As something that's inevitably just constantly expanding to no end. It's just like, how can you comprehend that? Something having no point of end.
But if it's infinite, how can it expand even?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There has to theoretically be an endpoint that is growing, that is expanding. Otherwise, that you can't even say that something's expanding if there's no end to it. How can you verify that it's getting bigger or smaller?
Well, they can measure things that are getting further apart by. So the further away something is traveling away from you,
right,
or traveling towards something traveling towards you. What they can do is measure the frequency of the light waves, and as the light waves approach, they get shifted towards the blue end of the spectrum, and as they leave, they get shifted, like the light, the waves like lengthen, and if you put that in a spectrometer, they become red. It's called redshift. So as they're measuring stars that are further and further away, they get further and further shifted towards the red end of the spectrum. What they say, or the way I'm kind of oversimplifying this, but
that helps.
What the way it kind of works is like there might be stuff infinitely far away, but we only have the universe has only existed for so long, and the speed of light is only so fast that we are only physically ever able to observe a very small portion of it, because the light that's further beyond that limit is so far away and is moving away so much faster that it will never be able to reach us.
So crazy.
So wouldn't those measurements only really be able to verify that particles or elements within the universe that we're aware of just happen to be spreading out further apart from each other? That doesn't necessarily suggest that the universe itself is expanding in all directions. We just know that the elements that we're able to see and measure happen to be spreading out. But if the universe in its entirety doesn't end, then the universe itself is not expanding. It's just objects within it are expanding, right?
Right. Well, I mean, but the objects are moving further away from itself, right? So that's
what I meant by spreading out.
Yeah. So there's certain forces in the universe. I don't remember exactly how many there are. I think there are 4. There's gravity. There's electromagnetism. Then there's the small and the weak nucleic forces. And once again, I think there's other ones, but I don't know that. But I know, so gravity works at a very large scale. It's very, very weak when you get down into the atomic scale, but gravity keeps things like solar systems and galaxies and things like that clumping together, and the forces, weakens as it gets further away. So they're measuring galaxies that are far, far away, and I think the way that the galaxies themselves aren't getting bigger. The space that they're occupying are moving further and further away. I think that's how they tell, and they're able to measure the distance between them. I don't know. Like I said, I am very armchair when it comes to this stuff.
So you're saying basically basically their distance between themselves stays the same, but they move that whole clump of system moves further away.
Yeah,
gotcha,
because there's galaxies, and then there's galaxy clusters, and then there's superclusters, and then there's all of matter is on these filaments of if you look up like the fabric of the universe, they've measured, like they have these. It looks very much like the internal structure of a cell. It's freaking crazy. Like I don't know. It's crazy to look.
It kind of makes sense in a weird way
that
it would have that same structure.
But there's just massive areas where there isn't anything.
Right.
And it's all just kind of slowly stretching and moving away from itself.
Is that space filled with dark matter? Or theoretically, is that space filled with dark matter, you think?
They don't know. I mean, so they're like, in order for our universe to function the way that we're observing it functioning, like there's only, I don't know what the ratios are, but a very small percentage of the observable matter or the stuff that we can see makes the universe. I'm not explaining it very well, but there's dark matter, which in order for the universe to work the way it works, there's got to be way more of it than there is observable matter.
Right.
It's kind of funny.
So
I had I don't remember what I was watching, but I was watching something, and it was talking, because you're talking about how everything's so spread out, and there's just so much just space, like literal space, just nothing out there. And I was watching something how they were talking about how sci-fi movies always get everything wrong when you see like people flying through asteroid belts, and there's all these crazy asteroids like colliding with stuff. It's like the asteroid belts are so vast and spread out that one asteroid is like millions or hundreds of thousands of miles away from the next asteroid. Like, so if you like, we've had satellites and different things fly through asteroid belts with no problem, because they are thousands and thousands of miles away from any asteroid they might actually run into. So it's just kind of funny how it's like asteroid belts are completely false when it comes to sci-fi movies, which most things in sci-fi movies are. But
what a boring scene that would be.
Yeah. Oh, we got to go through this asteroid belt.
Oh, it's terrifying.
There's one.
Put it on cruise control.
Right.
Yeah. If you ever, so one thing I like to always watch on YouTube are like size comparisons. And there's a channel out there that I watch called Metal Ball Studios, and they always have like comparing the size of objects in the solar system and like comparing the size of stars, and it is just absolutely insane,
right?
How like much bigger other stars are than our tiny little sun.
I saw one, I believe it's Corridor Crew, and they did one where what it would look like if each planet was the same distance as the moon. So they were showing like what the horizon line would look like with this giant planet, like how you would see it just standing there. Like you'd see it day and night. It would just be this giant ball on the horizon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
Are you saying all the other planets are the same distance from Earth as the moon is from Earth?
So basically what they did was said, okay, this is what like Jupiter would look like if it were the same distance to us as the moon currently is. So then they show what that would look like, and they did that with each planet, so you'd see how big it gives you like a perspective of how big they actually are in comparison to like what our moon is.
Yeah, I would guess that we would never see anything but Jupiter, right?
I mean, Jupiter took up most of the skyline. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't like
we would be burnt.
It wasn't like if all the planets at the same time. They just did each planet, like saying
each
like
one.
If this planet was this close, this is what it would look like. It just kind of gives you that perspective. I watched another one too where they did the same thing with all of the different ships from Star Wars, and compared them to cities, and just insane like how big, like how massive these ships are, supposedly. Just
I
like
bet
over
if,
New York, it's just towering over the entire city.
I suppose if Jupiter was as far away from Earth as the moon was, we would be one of Jupiter's moons. We wouldn't even be a planet ourselves.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure we would just be sucked into Jupiter.
The gravity would
We'd be
pull us
absorbed.
down,
Yeah. Not absorbed, but yeah, we would be sucked onto the surface of Jupiter.
Hopefully,
I'm pretty sure we would be within
storm.
the surface of the sun's diameter if the sun were where the moon is now. I'm pretty sure we would be within that.
Oh yeah, I'm
we
sure
we would be within it. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
We'd be inside the sun.
We would have melted, But hopefully with Jupiter, we get sucked into that giant storm that's been going on for thousands of years or whatever they say.
Millions.
The Great Red Spot.
Yeah.
No, we would definitely. We probably wouldn't even know it was happening because we all die so quickly. before we even got sucked onto the surface of the planet.
Now, you guys, I'm sure if we crossed over in and got into Jupiter's atmosphere, we wouldn't be able to survive just entering the atmosphere. The whatever gases there might be filling the space wouldn't be oxygen. We wouldn't be able to breathe.
No.
But you guys will probably be able to help me out and teach me about this. But I know I haven't.
You
seen
have
a ton
such
of
faith
movies.
in me.
Well, no, it's about movies and stuff. Now, I haven't seen a ton.
It's right in my wheelhouse.
I haven't seen a ton of movies that have aliens.
Ooh.
I've heard of aliens. I've seen Mars Attacks, like stuff like that. But
of all the
Hardcore
the
sci-fi.
movies, movies
that
you've
was
Mars
seen
Attacks. That's
that
super.
that have aliens
Just
in them.
steeped in science.
that was just an
You go
example.
with you go with the 50s homage
Right. Well, I've
shitty movie.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I've seen Independence Day. I've seen Fire in the Sky. I've seen.
Oh, that's a good one.
But
I
I
haven't watched that
haven't
in a long time.
I haven't seen like Contact or was it Prometheus or something?
Okay.
I haven't seen. There's so many movies that involve extraterrestrial life that I have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that aliens are depicted in two ways in movies and stories and stuff. It seems like they're either very meek little humanoid like figures that are super intelligent, and then they have extra mind powers, and they can, they're very intelligent and they're using us for energy or for experimenting on, or they're just gigantic crazy monsters that are just ferocious and trying to kill us all. Is that accurate, or are there?
I'd say that's fairly accurate. That's probably like the majority. I'm trying to think of some examples that are slightly different.
I would agree with that. I mean, the one that comes to mind is Arrival, and
I haven't seen that.
that's a really good one. I recommend that one. I put that one right up there with Contact in terms of like mind bending kind of concepts and things like that.
I pulled up a list of, now every list is subjective, but it was a list of the top 50 like alien movies of all time ever made.
Alien.
And I want to say,
Number
I'm going to
one.
look at it real quick. Oh crap, this starts with number 50. Maybe it was another list that had the top 29. Either way, one of them I think had Arrival at the top, like the number one
Oh, right on.
movie. This one has,
It's got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's
wow.
pretty good.
this one this list of the top 50 has the original Alien as the number one movie.
It's classic.
About aliens. Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic. I don't know that it's the best, but it's it's hard to argue with nostalgia.
Right.
This one puts Arrival at number 4.
Huh? What are the top 10s? Let's see.
Oh, okay. So top 10. 1979's Alien is number 1. Number 2 is the Thing, which came out in 1982.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
John Carpenter, I guess.
It's great.
Okay.
Number 3 is Aliens, the sequel to Alien. Number 4 is Arrival from 2016. Number 5 is something from 1973 called Fantastic Planet. Looks like the director's name is a French name, so I don't know if it's a foreign film or not. But it was at Cannes Film Festival, so that could tell you something. Number 6, Avengers Infinity War. Number 7, Avengers Endgame.
I don't think of those as alien movies. They have
I don't
aliens in
consider
them.
those alien movies.
I think it, when I saw that, I'm like, it technically qualifies, but it's not what you typically think of.
It's not the point of the movie.
Right. You could say then Star Wars is in there or Star Trek, because those are.
Yeah.
But number 5 looks like it's an animated, sort of anime type of movie called Interstellar 5555.
Yep, that is the Daft Punk Discovery album. It was the anime that was created to go along with that album. It's super good.
I like that punk.
Number 9 is Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan, and
That's a good
then
one.
number 10 is E.T., the extraterrestrial.
Wow.
I feel like that's very. I don't know if that one holds up.
Yeah, I'm surprised Mac
does
and Me
not.
wasn't on that list.
Well, are you surprised? You mean you're surprised it wasn't in the top 10?
Yeah, it should have been.
Because it might be on the list.
Oh God, it better not be. That
No, but
movie is literally a McDonald's commercial.
But I'll tell you though that E.T. does not hold up.
I can't imagine it wouldn't.
I saw it in the drive-in over the summer, and that movie makes no sense whatsoever. Nothing makes sense. It's so weird. So there's some movies on here where I had no idea that there was any kind of alien element to them. According to this, Number 12 is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
What? Really?
That has aliens?
Yeah, he's a transvestite from transsexual Transylvania, which is like another planet or something.
Oh, whenever I hear that, I thought he was just from Transylvania, which is a place on Earth.
It's like another planet. Yeah, they are aliens.
When's the last time anybody saw Close Encounters?
I was thinking about
Been
that
a while.
while you were talking. It's been a long time since I watched that.
That's number 14. Let me try to scroll through and see if there's any that stuck out where I'm like, I didn't know that was about aliens at all. And you guys feel free to talk while I'm doing this.
I was going to say that the one
You're like Men in Black.
That's on there.
The one that I seen fairly recently that I really enjoyed was that Super 8 movie.
See, I
It's a
haven't,
Spielberg movie.
I haven't gotten through that yet.
It's enjoyable. It's not like a real cerebral movie. It's just it's fun. It's a fun watch.
It's a J.J. Abrams.
Exactly.
So it's full
I
of
think
lens flares.
Spielberg actually.
I think he produced it. I think.
Oh, he did?
I think
Okay.
Abrams directed it.
Uh,
I thought. I could be wrong.
Have you guys seen A Quiet Place?
No.
Yes, that's a decent movie. I enjoyed that one too.
I've apparently
guess
seen
that's-
far less movies than we thought.
Yeah. Now I've seen this movie, but I didn't realize. Maybe I didn't pay attention enough at all. I didn't realize there was any alien. Dark
The whole-
City.
Dark City. Oh,
Dark City.
I don't know what Dark City is.
Oh
Yeah, I
God!
remember
I
being
think I've seen it like probably back when it came out.
I
I'm
remember
looking at
being
this list and they
strange.
have Donnie Darko as an alien movie. I don't know if
Really?
I buy that. Yeah.
Mm,
I'm gonna
don't know
go
either.
out there. I'm gonna go out there and say it. And this is against popular belief of the world, but I did not like that movie.
Donnie Darko?
Yeah.
It was okay.
I didn't care for it. It was just kind of like, eh.
It was a little depressing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. There's other movies that I've watched too that are far super depressing, and I'm just like, well, I've seen it. I'm good. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Requiem for a Dream. I'm like, yep, I watched
Yep.
that once. I don't need to see that again. Oh, Kids? Yeah, nope, seen it. Don't need to watch that ever again. Ugh.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Kids was yeah.
Oh, it's just such a messed up movie.
There are some movies I don't know. There's something maybe that says something about you if you rewatch something like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Has anybody watched the show The Expanse?
No. I think I've heard
Because
No.
of it.
that as far as TV shows go, that is my top all-time sci-fi TV show.
It's,
It is phenomenal.
it's like a series, or it's like a
It's
like
a
a
series,
documentary-ish type thing.
It's a series. Yeah, it's a drama. It's
okay.
got really good sci-fi or really good science, really good action. It's got like political drama. It is it's like the casting is really good. The cinematography is really good. It's just a very well put together piece of work. The fifth season came out I don't know, a couple, like maybe a week ago, and I'm pretty excited to watch that.
Nice.
I think there's only going to be one more season, so it's not like one of the things where they keep dragging it on and
Yeah.
won't letting it die.
That's the problem with way too many, especially American TV series, is that they just keep trying to cash in on it for so long, and then the quality just completely craps out, and then the
Just
ending,
let it end.
yeah, then they end on such a crap note, and it's just like, no, figure out what your story is. You obviously have an idea of what your story is going to become when you first started off. You kind of have an idea of like, okay, it's going to start like this. This is kind of where I want it to end, like how I want it to end. But don't drag that out over 7 seasons if you can make it right in 4 or 5. Like,
Exactly.
but everybody's worried about getting to syndication all the time, so they always want to hit that 5-year mark. And it's like, if your story is going to be more coherent in 4 seasons, don't drag it out to 5. Do it right. If with streaming stuff and everything now, who cares about syndication anyway?
Exactly. You'd think
So-
syndication wouldn't be an issue. I mean, for network TV, maybe I can see it, but
Right.
the vast majority of TV that people watch nowadays is streaming, and it's
Right. And when it's shows like that too, where it's like especially dramas and stuff like that, you have more of a story you're trying to get with. It's not a sitcom. A sitcom I can see dragging it on for years and years and years, as long as the writing is staying pretty solid with it. You can kind of do whatever you want. But when it's like a drama or like something like that has substance like that, it's like, no, get your story out and move on to the next thing, and your audience is going to appreciate it a lot more. That's what I really liked about The Good Place, is they told their story in 4 seasons and they got the hell out of there, and it was great. It was perfect. I didn't feel like there was a single wasted episode on that show. And then
that's a phenomenal show.
it was so great. And then like Iman and I were talking about Sons of Anarchy again today, and we were just so upset over that. How it, like, after the third season, they just went to shit and just like drug that show out for like 4 more seasons, and it was just like, oh my god, put it to bed.
I've never seen that one. I got to watch that one.
I know
the
that
first 3 seasons at least.
Yeah, I know that Walking Dead is at least somewhat based on the comics, but I feel like that show is just totally overstayed its welcome. It keeps going.
I honestly haven't even watched like the last 2 seasons of it because I just got to the point where I just started getting really bored with it.
Same. I think I watched the first 3 seasons, and they were good.
Yeah. But HBO is good at that. Like they'll have a series run for 5 or 6 seasons maybe, and then they stop. They don't drag it on forever.
Yeah, they'll make I don't know, they call them limited series or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I feel like most other countries kind of do that, where there's like, all right, here's our show. We're going to do X number of episodes, and
we're going to tell our story.
Boom, move on to the next thing. And that's just, to me, that's the best way to do it, because there's been far too many shows that I've watched that just get to a point where you're just like, all right, well, this just got bad now, and it's just like, and then
it makes you not appreciate the seasons that were good.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes you in general just hate the show. Like I don't have a desire to go back and rewatch something if I know that it wasn't there was no payoff at the end, you know?
Right.
It just sucks.
Now, that you could have a different feeling for something like a series like The Simpsons or something, because with a show like that, there's no resolution to the story. They're never gonna
That follows the sitcom rule.
Yeah, where it just keeps going. Now I would argue, and I guess I haven't seen an episode of that show in who knows how long, but I would argue that the writing has not stayed consistent.
Right.
As in consistently good compared to the early years.
But something like that, like animated shows are almost in their own little element, because typically, I mean, a lot of times with sitcoms is each episode kind of stands alone anyways. So you don't have to go back and watch the entire series again and feel like you missed out on stuff. Like with The Simpsons, it's like, oh, I didn't care for the first so many seasons because the writing was weird, the animation was off. It didn't really hit its stride till 3 or 4 or something. So you're like, I'm going to jump in on season 3. I don't care about those first couple seasons, and you move on. And then once you get to a point where it's like, okay, I didn't care for it after season 86.
Right.
Then you just stop and just move on and watch Futurama again.
Now, unless you really want to figure out where Santa's Little Helper came from, you have to. You could jump into season 3 but if you really want to find out where Santa's Little Helper came from, you got to start earlier than that. Or
you just Google it.
You Google it. Yeah, that's what Wikipedia is.
Don't waste your time.
I heard a rumor that they were talking about rebooting Futurama again, which I think would be fantastic.
I don't know. I loved
Futurama. It had a great ending. Honestly, they ended that series right where they needed to.
Did you guys see? Did you guys see any of the Futurama movies that they made? Didn't they make like 4 of them?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of they're all part of the overall story by the end of it, so you kind of want to watch them all. Yeah,
and those were great. I mean, the movies, they tied in well with the series. They're like long episodes.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed them a lot. But I'll be honest, I don't think when Futurama kind of got rebooted, I don't think I really saw any of it or much of it.
They were just as good as the original. Like not Comedy Central, when Cartoon Network was it Cartoon Network or was it Comedy Central? I don't remember.
Oh boy, it's a good question. I can't remember now either.
Well, if only there was some device that we could check.
I wonder how many times people say that.
Say what? Lot. Say the phrase "Google it."
Well, no, but if you're trying to figure something out and then go, oh, I wonder if only there was a way to figure it out. Like we've done it. Like Eric just did it. We did it earlier. You and I have done it on other episodes.
True.
It's just something that everyone says.
Yeah, can you imagine what podcasts would have been like back in the 40s when they couldn't just Google it?
Well,
it was called radio.
Yeah, it was called radio. And they added sound effects.
It was called news.
Well, yeah.
This is harder to find than I thought it would be. Comedy Central. So Fox had it, and then Comedy Central did.
Yeah, I think there was some... It was pretty solid still when it came back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that wasn't... like Adult Swim didn't take it. Comedy Central seems strange.
I mean,
they're not really a cartoon. They're not really a cartoon focused.
I
The
think
stuff that was on
did
Adult
with
Swim.
with the videos. I think, or with the movies. I think Comedy Center, not Cartoon Network, did. Adult Swim did that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I always think about some of the stuff that was on Adult Swim, and I'm just like, I don't know. There was some
bad stuff up
There's
there.
some decent stuff on there, but man, there was some garbage on there.
I got really tired of everyone talking about Aqua Teen and everyone talking about what was that? Was there an
There was-
underwater show?
There was Birdman,
Oh.
and then there was C Lab 2020.
Space Lab, or C Lab. That's what.
Sea Lab.
And all those were they were taking those old cartoons and then re-editing them and doing new voice work on them. And
Yeah,
sometimes they were pretty funny, and
That's not what
other
Aqua
times
Teen
they were
was,
just
though,
weird.
right?
Aqua Teen,
No,
Aqua Teen was a newer thing, but C
Sea
Lab
Lab was
and
like that.
Birdman were both.
Space Ghost was another one.
Space
Yeah,
Ghost.
Space
They-
Ghost, Coast to Coast.
They didn't, I don't think they really reused animation from that, but they just took those old characters and
Yeah, and kind of
put
made
them
a
in a
new
talk
thing.
show setting. I enjoyed Space Ghost for a while, but it just gets old. It's the same thing every time.
Yeah,
So I enjoyed him enough to be Space Ghost for Halloween one year.
I remember that.
I liked Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers is a great show.
Yep.
That was another
Very
one
good
that just
show.
kind of fizzled out and just kind of went away.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It stopped recently, didn't it?
Again, if there was only a way to figure it out. There was a lot of shows like that. I think a lot of shows were having like legal issues with Cartoon Network and stuff, because I know that happened with like Metalocalypse as well. It didn't they didn't get to finish that show because there was issues with the network, and then the network owns the rights to the show, so Brendan Small doesn't have the rights to do it, to try to finish it, and he really wants to finish it. So he's been like battling with them to try to he's just like, just give me the rights back. Christ, I just want to finish my show.
Yeah, they're not going to do
you know?
anything with it.
Yeah.
They just want it because they want it.
Yeah.
They want any sort of royalties or anything that come out of
Yeah.
it, which is
And-
kind of
and they
shitty,
wanna
honestly.
They want to hang on to it in case they want to use it themselves for something
Mhm.
later on.
Right.
Because they know that any kind of IP can be rebooted at any time these days. And so everyone wants to hang on to whatever they have to be able to use that in the future.
I would hope that content creators, to some degree, can kind of wise up to that when they start writing their contracts. I mean, I know it's, I don't know. I mean, they've got, like, the networks have leverage over them, but man, that kind of stuff, it just kills. One thing that bothers me is that Disney bought up all of the IP for, I'm trying to think of who it was now. Disney holds everybody's IP to some degree.
Right.
And
Pretty much.
I wish that, you think about stuff like Frankenstein and Dracula and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff that was written at that, way back in the day, didn't have like these copyright IP issues that all passed into the public domain, so
Right.
that you and me can go and start writing about Dracula or Frankenstein and write a book and, publish that. If I were to do that with, I can't write a Star Wars novel. I can't write, all this others, all these other intellectual properties now. And I don't remember somebody ended up suing them. I went to the Supreme Court, and I think that the Supreme Court essentially ruled in Disney's favor. And now all of that stuff is lost to the public domain. I don't know. That kind of bums me out. So, they're going to basically hold the rights to Star Wars in perpetuity.
Right.
Or
Oh, yeah.
Marvel characters in perpetuity. That'll never pass into the public domain to be used by everyone.
Right.
Well, they're just going to make enough stuff that anybody under the sun will have a chance to possibly write and direct a Marvel feature or something.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not like you got one writer and one director doing everything. Every single movie has got multiple writers, and then each movie has a different director. So eventually, anyone that wants to step up to the plate will probably be given a chance.
Well, it's like at the end of every credits, they always say like, this movie employed X thousands of people and blah blah blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
Well, of course
Great.
it did. Of course it did. Have
Yeah.
you watched the end credits of a Marvel movie? It takes that's half the run length of the movie.
It's crazy. And I suppose you would factor that in because everyone sits through it to get to the end scenes.
Right.
That's right.
That's how they get you now, to stay there and sit and watch that shit.
Yeah, but
It's
they
like
scroll by so fast
nobody
you can't
likes
even
to
read
sit
them.
and watch the credits, and it's like, well, my mom always used to sit and watch all the credits. I don't know why.
It's all the bonus
Oh, she
footage
did?
at the end.
Well, no, I mean before
No, but this
any
is-
of that ever happened, like my mom would always sit through the credits. I think she was just kind of her way of being like, look, they, people put in the time and effort to make this movie. I might as well sit through and see who it was, even though I'll have no idea who these people are.
Well, that and it doesn't get them anything.
Right.
It's not like those names involved get anything out of the credits being viewed by somebody.
Right. Exactly.
It's just I suppose it just makes it so one person has heard of them that didn't hear of them before.
Right. It's not like you're going to be like, Paul Johnson worked on that. Man, he also did effects for this other movie and that other. Oh, that's crazy how he's connected to this one. And I'm pretty sure I've seen that name before as well. And
Was it Travis that was talking about some of the weird roles that you had, like Best Boy and Grip, and like, I recognize that Best Boy. He was the best boy on Gremlins 2.
Right.
Best
Man,
boy?
He's been
Best Boy.
He's been a best boy for 30 years.
He's the bestest boy.
I can't believe he hasn't been promoted to best man yet, but
he's not best
or
man.
bestest boy.
I mean, it sounds nice, but it's really not worth it. You get better perks if you're the best boy,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they have a different idea. Once they get into being a best man, they kind of regret it. They don't know what they're getting into.
Right. You get all the best treats when you're the best boy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The salary increase does not match the added responsibilities.
Yeah, and you usually get bumped into a higher tax bracket, so that's
Mhm.
I know.
Fucking
It's like
fucking Trump.
it's what?
I don't know.
Why didn't he tell us about the aliens?
Hey, there you go. You brought it back around.
I did.
We kind of got there when we started talking about Futurama.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's aliens in that shit.
Yeah, there's sprinkles.
There's yeah.
This episode is called Sprinkles of Aliens.
I mean,
or Alien
What we-
Sprinkles. Alien Sprinkles.
alien sprinkles. Yeah, we don't. I mean, who knows? There could be one of us could be an alien.
We could.
Sounds like something an
I
alien
doubt
would
it.
say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to every other planet, we are aliens.
I mean,
Depends on how localized you want to get.
I mean, we are the most alien thing on this planet too.
What?
I mean,
What do you mean?
we're
from this planet.
I know, but we're also like compared to all the other life forms on the planet, we're kind of the most alienish life form, aren't we not? And we're also the youngest life form on the planet too, aren't we? As far as
so,
we know.
Are you basing it on?
I
I
could
don't
be
know if
wrong.
I'm necessarily the youngest.
Not necessarily.
but-
We're
Are you
we're,
basing it
we're among
definitely-
the youngest.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been around that long. I mean,
Right.
Homo erectus is like the first humanoid species, is what they say.
Right.
And then, but that was I don't even know the timelines. It wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Like
in
in the
comparison
order of
to like
hundreds
the
of
life of the
thousands of
planet.
years versus like crocodiles, which have been around since dinosaur times, and sharks. Like sharks are one of the oldest things on the planet.
And relatively unchanged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy.
If you believe in evolution.
If
Yeah.
evolution doesn't care if you believe in it
True.
or not.
Religion does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they care. They care big time.
That's how they get their power.
Mm-hmm.
The more people that believe in it, the more powerful they are.
Right.
But Matt, you
I
saying
think
that
that's
we're
a
the
D&D
most.
mechanic.
It only took 49 minutes to get a D&D reference into this. Go ahead, Sean. You were going to say something?
No, I mean no.
I killed it.
No, I mean you both killed it a lot of times, so I stopped
Oh.
trying.
That's the hard part, right? When you bring another person on, then there's two people trying to talk over each other.
Yeah, I'm being reminded of what it's like to try to have a conversation with any of you guys because I seldom get something in.
Well, the nice thing is once you take this to mix, you can just edit like me interrupting you out.
Right. And then
Well,
there'll just be silence.
Matt won't do that. You heard
Yeah,
Matt
Matt
at the
won't do
beginning.
that.
At the beginning of this mess, he's not going to take any of this out.
Oh, God, no. I actually, the messiness of it makes it more real and unique, and it makes me enjoy
Eric,
it a lot more.
I have a question, Eric. So I've known you technically since like first grade or whatever.
Yeah, first or second, I think. Yeah, first grade.
Yeah, but you probably didn't meet Matt until 10th grade. I would
I
think.
Yeah.
think so. We had Spanish class together in 10th
Yep,
grade.
Mrs. McDonald's class.
Would you say that you have like more memorable moments with all of us during high school, or do you remember stuff that we did more after high school? Do you think?
I I would say after high school. And honestly, I mean, high school in the long term of our friendship, high school was not a very large part of it. Yeah, we
Very
met
true.
each other there, but I mean, shit, how long have we been out of high school?
Almost
No,
20
I know,
years.
but
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but obviously we've known each other a lot longer outside of high school than during. But I'm just curious, like when you think back about cool times we had and things like that, are a lot of them centered around when we were still in high school, or are more of them centered around? Because obviously we see each other a lot less than we used to.
Yeah,
But
well, for sure.
Are more of your things that you think about still post high school than during high school? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely after post high school. I mean, I think that like the where I've kind of made most of my memories of you guys was probably the summer after high school. Basically, just hanging out in Mark's garage nonstop.
Right, when we had nothing to do because none of us were like...
It was fantastic. I mean,
'Cause-
that's all we did.
We were out of high school. We didn't have those responsibilities anymore. And some of us were just like, should we go to college? Should we take a year off? What should we do? So it was
Yep.
just kind of that carefree, like, we're done with high school. We're adult. We're men now.
Yeah.
We're big boys. We got big boy pants,
Yeah.
jobs.
Let's hang it out at our friend's parents' house every day.
yeah. Let's have babies. I don't know. Not with each other.
What?
We didn't do that.
No. Luckily, none of us had babies
No.
right after high school. During.
Yeah, that'd be. Although they'd be all grown up now, you know. And
That's true.
True. Yeah, we could be enjoying our soon to be 40s with kids already off to college.
yeah,
That's crazy to think about.
Oh, that crazy thing to think about is the fact that some people in high school definitely did have kids. There was a few pregnant girls in high school, and it's just like, wow, yeah, their kids are like 20,
but
almost 20 now, or over or 21 now.
I mean,
I don't
they might be living large now, but at the time, I don't like probably the first 10 years. Like nobody's emotionally ready to
I
deal
can't
with that.
imagine that anybody
that's
who
gotta
was
be
pregnant
rough.
in high school is living large now either.
No, that's the
'Cause
problem. I mean, if
That struggle at that young of an age, it's really hard to get going. I mean, you see how many people nowadays are like, all right, I'm in my mid to late 30s. I'm going to go back to college and really, I finally now know what I want to do with my life. I'm going to start my career. And it's like, if you have a kid right after, like, coming out of high
can't do
school
any
like
of
that, and you want to be like, oh, I want to go to college, but I have this responsibility now. It's like, and to have that motivation at that young of an age to push yourself to do that, like, I couldn't do it.
so
I have a dog now, and that's like too much responsibility.
I hear you.
And I'm almost 40.
I know you guys aren't going to know the number, but ballpark. I have no idea. I can't think of anybody that I knew in high school that was pregnant. How many people do you think there were? Because I can't even think of anybody.
I
4 or
know
5.
I know of at least a couple.
Oh,
I couldn't tell you names right now. I just remember a few.
I don't think we want to say names either.
Yeah, if I knew, I wouldn't be blurting it out. But
well, we could say first names maybe, but I can't even think of anybody that I was aware of. I mean, I'm sure I was at the time, but right now
Right.
I can't think of. I have no memory of there being anybody pregnant during high school. But all I thought about was myself. So.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and how you weren't pregnant. That's all you worried about.
I know I was.
You're like,
well,
I'm Sean.
I
I'm not pregnant. Every day you
I
said
wanted
that. It was
to-
really weird.
I did. Yeah, I went over the loudspeaker.
It was really.
I made
it was unnecessary.
Yeah, people, they would always wonder, like, why does he do that every day?
Savage let me. I don't know. There was no one stopped me. So
Right. Just eyes would roll
They had
as you
they
walk
had
into
a
the
hot
office.
mic waiting for you.
Yep. Yeah, they warmed it up.
yeah, they pretty much Once after a couple times they just were expecting it and they got everything prepared for me.
Right.
It really made it easy.
Mhm.
Yeah. The funny thing is, that's all made up, but
Is it?
based on a lot of
Really?
well, but based on a lot of stuff we were able to do in high school, I would not. That doesn't seem so far fetched. I could see
True.
that actually happening with us.
Yeah.
No. I just think about Hunt's class. Man,
Yeah,
that was
we,
the best. We're
we
just
got
like,
to do whatever we want in that class. It was
he's
great.
like, this is the project where you have to do this. And we're like, yeah, we don't want to do that. We're going to do this instead.
Mhm.
And we got A's.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
think that class, you would have had to work your ass off to not get a passing grade in that class. You would have had to
Yeah.
try really hard. if you were there every single day and at least like showed that you were making a mild effort to do the work, you were going to pass that class.
Yep. I know he did get a little bit upset when all we would do is when the only thing we were doing was playing Quake.
Yeah.
But after we kind of stopped that and just worked on our claymation, he was cool with it.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking one of these previous episodes, we talked a bit about the claymation and stuff, and talked about people just coming in and playing Quake all the time. And Sean made that exact reference of the fact that because we weren't playing Quake, he loved us in that class because we were trying to do something.
Yeah.
Even though what we were doing had nothing to do with any of the actual assignments, we at least came in every day and worked.
Yeah, I suppose we should thank ourselves and everyone else in that class for like the bar getting set so low.
Yeah, it was super, super low.
If everyone else was trying, we would not have passed that class.
Yeah, if we had a class full of like ambitious, creative, hardworking students, we would have been screwed because we wouldn't have shined as much as we did in that class.
Yeah,
no.
And considering the crazy thing is like we got a credit for that.
I know.
Right.
That counted towards graduating.
Hey, Eric, maybe you can help figure this out. Matt and I were trying to figure out some of the movies that we had made. I did not realize were for school. Like, Every Hit's a Slap in the Face.
That was for school?
Okay, so you can't help us either.
we definitely made that for a class. I don't know what for. But you could actually maybe shed some light on something. I made a remark that you came and filmed for us a little bit when we had done Petting Zoos Aren't Happening on Thanksgiving, but now I'm second guessing myself as to if you were there or not.
Which one was that?
That was one we filmed at Sean's house, and it was Nick, Matt, Sean, myself, and Jared. And I thought like you came and helped us film for a little bit, but now I'm second guessing as if you were.
I think I did. I think okay. I was a microphone operator.
No, that was for Sean's thing for college, I think.
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know.
Remember you filmed your
the Forgotten Heroes.
Yeah. And I think Eric was playing a boom operator for that. But I thought, and I was maybe mixing those two ideas in my head, thinking that you were involved with petting zoos. But now I'm recanting that story, and I don't believe you were. I might not have been
in that one, but I know I was. I helped out on Every Hit's a Slap in the Face.
Yep, you were part of that one, and then you were part of Saturday the 14th, the 2nd.
Yep,
in the claymation, and then
White Suburban
Gangsters, which was going to be our that would have been our opus at one point if we ever would have filmed that movie in its entirety. That would have been like the big one we would have done. There was a lot of ambition behind that one.
Oh yeah.
I still don't know if it would have qualified as an opus.
No, it would have. It just would have been our most ambitious, largest movie.
It would have been our what's that one with all those extras in the desert? What's that huge?
Are you thinking of Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia, yeah.
Okay, it would have been our Lawrence of Arabia.
There we go. All right.
Gotcha.
Man, I really wish I would have written a week for you. I totally forgot.
Yeah. So anybody listening that realizes we didn't do news at the beginning of the episode, it's because Sean botched it and forgot to write his this week.
It's your fault because you didn't do anything.
It's my fault because I didn't remind Sean to write one.
You didn't have a week to write.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So
I mean, we changed the format. You could have written about anything throughout the history of my existence, but
you don't have anything.
Okay.
He didn't exist last week.
It's gonna be weird how all of a sudden next week I'll have something.
Well, anything can happen.
You were Eric, cryogenically frozen for 7 days.
So, Eric, last time we did change it up, so it didn't necessarily have to be what each of us was up during that last week. It's just sort of like, what am I up to now? Like, what's just kind of happening in my life these days?
Or just anything throughout the history of my existence.
I see.
See, I didn't know that.
Well, no, the last week I wrote about your past. It was all about you going down to your favorite watering hole to swim every summer.
Oh, yeah. But that's because I was recently going through a photo album or something.
Yeah, you're recently looking through photo albums and you were reminded of a murder you committed when you were young.
Yeah.
You committed this murder when you were young?
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. And I think it was just so I was still able to use that watering hole.
Yeah.
I remember right. I can't remember.
The weird thing is a lot of Sean's stories have to do with him murdering things.
Yeah.
He's apparently a dog murderer too.
Oh. Why?
because they got.
I can forgive a lot, Sean.
It's
but
because the dogs got overexhausted while pulling his chariot.
Oh,
Yeah,
It makes
on the way
sense.
to the grocery store.
Yep.
I mean, let's be real. There are so many dogs that need, rescuing. And so it's just proof that there are too many dogs already. They're suffering. And so.
Right. And they're not on the endangered species list. So what does it matter?
Right. I mean, we can
Is it
hunt
technically
deer, so
illegal?
I'm trying to thin out the population so there are no more suffering domesticated animals.
At least after the
that's
murder.
very noble of you.
They're no longer
Yeah.
suffering after you kill them, but
Well, right.
during
That's
the killing.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very
There's
it's very
plenty of
brutal.
suffering.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very inhumane way of ending their lives. But
You don't go easy on them.
and coincidentally, the dogs that I have put an end to were not dogs that were in any kind of pain or they were in homes and
They were
happy.
perfectly healthy.
But now I'm hoping that the owners of those dogs will then replace the dogs with dogs that are going through some tough times. That's my big plan.
That's your goal.
It
That's
relies
horrible.
it relies on a lot of pieces coming together and a lot of things happening that are beyond my control. But
If
you know,
anybody
that's how-
listening
how-
would like to contact Sean,
end of
we
thought,
will,
right?
we will eventually have places to contact each other.
Will we? Oh yeah, we'll have. I'm sure we'll set up an email address and
Yeah.
social media that we can do, and we'll do. Remember, we'll have all this ready before these episodes go live, so you don't even have to say that there'll be an eventual form of reaching out to us.
I enjoy the listeners knowing that we've recorded these well before they'll ever hear them. I mean, we literally
All right.
have a Halloween episode, Sean, that we're going to release
but-
well after Halloween.
Right, but so far that's the only one that I can think of that's really sort of time stamped like that.
I will
think.
be sure to go. I'm going to go back and edit all of these and put a timestamp on every single one of them. I'm just going to say the date
you
before
gotta get
every
a
single
year's
one.
backlog.
Yeah, do a whole year's worth. Then we can take a year off, and then we'll be up to date.
Yeah, and then things will be really
No,
out of whack.
I really love
Trump
the
jokes
idea
and,
of just
COVID jokes.
I just really love the idea of the fact that we're going to release a Halloween episode nowhere near Halloween.
I mean, that's also good.
That was always my, whenever you're around Christmas time and stuff, you always have sitcoms and all these shows that will have their Christmas themed
Mhm.
episode. And I always thought, what if you happen to get inspired to write a really good episode that is themed around a holiday like that? Then it's nowhere near that holiday in real time. Shouldn't you just write that and maybe release it then? Because you might be writing inferior holiday themed episodes if you're only doing it around that time. You know what I mean?
Well, you just write it, and if it turns out it's really, really good, then you just hold on to it till the holiday comes around.
Right. So why don't you do that with our podcast episode?
Why would I hold on to that episode and put it out at Halloween time? The
Because
audio
that was
quality,
your- that was-
the audio
that
quality
was
ain't
your
going to be as
very-
good. Like, there's so many factors in it that aren't going to be as good.
But that's supporting
Plus,
your own.
That was like
idea.
our best episode at that point. Like, that episode's great.
Yeah, we got to release that one.
Yeah, I know. That was a good episode.
You'll have to let the people be the judge.
Well, okay. In my opinion, that's a great episode. I really
All right.
enjoyed recording it and editing
That was
it.
fun.
It was we basically just talked about 3 really bad horror movies. One of which we just made up our own plot to based off the synopsis, and then the other 2 I actually read through like what the movies were about because we couldn't literally make up anything worse than what they actually were, and it was fun times.
You know what I'm sure is awesome for anyone listening to this podcast?
Is they've already heard all that.
Us talking about other things we've done on other episodes of
Right.
the same podcast.
I know. Well, we're telling Eric who hasn't listened to them yet, and
I have, I know nothing. Sean
Right.
cold called me last Sunday,
I
and
tried
said,
to
"Hey,
get
you
him
want to
on-
be on a podcast in like 3 hours?" I'm like, no, I really don't.
right,
I tried to get Eric on as a surprise guest last time,
right.
but he wasn't feeling up to it.
Yeah, it's short
But
notice to get prepared.
It was, but also it's kind of hard to set up like a surprise guest where everyone's got to fight through these potential technical difficulties and stuff.
Yeah,
So just so people don't have to hear the fumbling around, it's better to have it be a known thing at the beginning and then.
yeah. It's different if we were all recording in the same space, but since
Yeah,
we're all
yeah.
in different
And that might
Yeah.
also make it hard to make a guest a surprise guest anyway.
Right.
If we're all in the same room.
He logs into the Zoom call. I mean, that's surprising, right?
Right, but Matt's talking about in a time where maybe this isn't through Zoom and we're all physically in the same area.
You could still surprise me with a guest in that sense of like either you don't bring the guest on right away and we start recording and then they come in, or I show up and there's another person there.
Yeah, and the guest is wearing their face is covered at first, and then they reveal who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're wearing like an executioner's hood.
Yeah, that wouldn't make me at all like leery of entering a room.
Yeah, and holding a giant axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
It's just another Halloween episode.
Every episode's a Halloween episode.
Ooh, there you go.
We'll label it the Valentine's Day episode.
We could just see. There probably is a podcast out there that's just every episode's a Halloween episode, and
You
they just
could do
always
that.
talk
Out
about the
there.
movie Halloween.
Just the original.
Yep, every episode.
Yeah,
There's like 400 episodes of this podcast, and they've only ever talked about that one movie. They've really broken it down at this point.
Yeah.
They've named the best boy.
I was going to say, they have watched the credits.
Yeah.
They've talked about the credits, I'm sure.
They have talked about each member of those credits.
Yeah. They probably looked up their IMDb's, each one, and seen what other projects they've worked on.
Ooh, Halloween 2.
Oh, let's not do anything on that, though.
No.
How
Do you
long
guys
do you
have any
thi-
other shticks?
Well, how long do you... No, not really.
No. All
No,
right.
it's literally that thing at the beginning, and then we just talk about whatever.
that thing in the beginning that you didn't do?
Thing at the
Yeah.
beginning that we didn't
Yeah.
do this episode.
All right.
Last time I had something prepared, and so it was... I mean, you wouldn't call it a shtick, but it wasn't just like us just freeform talking about whatever. So there was something that we did. And so there have been a couple episodes where each of us have brought something to sort of guide the conversation.
Yeah. We call those
but they're-
smooth episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Ones that easily where ones that don't have awkward pauses, and ones where I'm not looking at the time going, oh, how are we going to fill an hour now?
Right. Some of
But
those episodes,
this
like
one's-
we literally get to the point where we're like, oh man, we're like 40 minutes in and we haven't even gotten to what we're trying to talk about yet.
Yeah, so that's nice. But
Yeah.
I mean, we're over the threshold on this one already. I don't forget how long it is before we really got jumped into it, but we're doing good.
Yeah. I'm feeling good.
So Eric, final thoughts on Aliens?
They exist. I
Good,
don't think
great.
they've ever contacted
That's-
us, and if they have, it's just been a fly through.
I'm just going to cut it at they exist.
Yeah.
They exist.
Matt.
End of episode.
Matt, final thoughts on Aliens?
The movie?
Yeah, I was going to say Sigourney Weaver's a badass. Newt was kind of annoying.
Okay, yeah. Hilarious. Misinterpretation of my question.
Eric said movie.
Anyway, what?
Eric said the movie. I went with it.
Did he? Oh, I
No,
didn't even hear
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I said it. It's only because you sent me a text when we were texting. You said you want to do a podcast. I'm like, what do you want to do it on? And you're like, Aliens, and I said the movie.
Got it.
Anyway,
Got
it was
it.
what do you call that?
My
Right in-
real final thought on Aliens is, of course, they have to exist in some form or another. There's no way we are the only planet with any sort of
Intelligent
life on it. Intelligent life, or just any life in general. I mean,
Right.
Alien doesn't have to be an intelligent alien. Anything off of our planet is an alien life form. Whether
True.
it's exactly the same. I mean, it could be a centipede, the same as the centipede we have here, but it's still an alien life form to our planet. So obviously, in the vast universe, there's no way our planet is the only planet that has any sort of life form on it.
I agree with that. I don't think there's any likelihood that there's some super intelligent group of beings out there that have come to Earth or contacted Earth and made any deals with us. But so I think that there has to be some sort of life, some kind, on some other planets, because it's so vast. It's almost impossible that there's not.
So, do you think there's a galactic federation of alien civilization exists?
That's possible, but like
Not
Matt
here.
said at the beginning, right? But like Matt said at the beginning, they're not going to give two shits about us.
We've got nothing to bring to the table.
Yeah. Unless they've never heard of a table, and then we bring them that.
Ooh.
And they're like,
Yeah,
this is where
let's bring the table to the table.
This is where we can put all of
They
our
get
stuff.
so confused. They're just like, what?
It's
What
like,
is?
why didn't we think of that?
We've been holding these things for years. I've never had a space to set this on. What is this surface?
I've been swallowing my valuables.
This is genius.
Got such. My joints are just sore from all this lifting and carrying.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is that a chair?
What?
Wait. How do you know what this is called?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're super
God,
intelligent.
we've been standing for so many years.
Well, hey everybody, this is this. We're done now.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.
bye.
If you like us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as HSFamousPod. Email us at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. If you really love us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/highschoolfamous. Remember, we love you and want to have your babies.